Welcome to Whisky and SV. I'm your host Sam, and tonight we're going to be drinking some Thompson Brothers whiskeys. Thompson Brothers, or as they're better known in America, Redacted Bros, because I guess the name Thompson Bros was taken in America, so they had to use Redacted Bros. Um, they are a well-known independent bottler, meaning they take other people's distillate and they buy like old barrels and then they bottle it under their own brand. However, back in 2017, they started their own distillery in Dornoch, Scotland, which I guess that's where they're from. And for the longest time, the stuff that they put out under their own distillate was called Dornoch. But as they're raising money now, I think they're calling it Struie, something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I guess Struie is some sort of hill near where they are, so that's the new name that they're going to use instead of Dornoch. Anyways, all that stuff aside, I have a couple of examples of their stuff here, and I want to quickly review them for you because they are really a cool independent bottler as well as a new distillery that's really worth having on your radar. I would compare them to sort of the Chichibu of Scotland, like how Chichibu in Japan is known to be a new distillery that has a lot of really good young distillates. Dornoch is sort of the same, or Struie is kind of the same, in that all of their stuff is obviously new because they only started distilling their own stuff back in 2017. But the stuff they have is so aromatic and so unique that it's definitely worth having on your radar. Before going to their own distillate, though, I'm going to review something that they put out as an independent bottler, and this is this 38-year-old blended malt whiskey with this really, really cool label of the 1980s cats. So this was distilled in 1986. That's like the youngest thing in here. It was distilled in 1986 and it was bottled in 2024. But let me talk about price actually. So I got this for under $200 for a 38-year-old whiskey. And the first time I tried this, my good friend who is actually sort of an investor in Dornoch, or Struie, I should say, he gave me a sample that given him when he went to the London whiskey show, and when I tried it, I was blown away, and I thought to me it reminded me of Springbank. I thought he's giving me some like really old Springbank, but it turned out no, it was this bottle. So when I found out that the cost of this is less than $200, I went ahead and I got myself this and a backup. And luckily, I was able to get it from K&L Wines in the USA, in California, so I didn't have to pay an arm and a leg for shipping. That's the thing that I have to say. Whenever you buy stuff from the UK, first of all, the pound dollar rate has gone up significantly since a couple of years ago. I guess historically it's still kind of low, but like since I started collecting whiskey, at some point it went down to almost $1, and now it's like back around 130. And anyways, it costs around £30 to deliver a single bottle, and that's like the best case scenario if you get like 6 bottles at a time. So it's very, very expensive. It's in the order of like $40 to get a single bottle just for the shipping cost to get a single bottle here. So even though these are very reasonably priced, if you don't get them from a local shop, if you have to order them from Scotland, then they end up costing a lot more. Anyways, let's get to the whiskey and the juice inside. So this thing is really an amazing thing. Again, 38 years old. On the nose, it actually has a little bit of the same characteristic of the Redacted Bro as their Dornoch distillate. There's that's very interesting bread, yeasty, bready kind of note that I really enjoy. But this is very subtle nose, very, very subtle. Sort of stewed fruits and a little slight amount of peat that you can kind of get on the nose as well. So yeah, a mix of fruit and honey is sort of the base. But the most interesting thing about it is that yeast and the sort of sourdough bread or just bready notes. It's like really, really aromatic and inviting. Okay, on the palate. So it's very, very flavorful for something that's only 41.2% at cask strength. So in Scotland, as the time goes by, the alcohol percentage goes down. So I guess they were bottling this sort of close, because if it goes below 40, you can't bottle it as a whiskey anymore. And it's after 38 years, it was still a whiskey. It was a 41.2%. I think that's a yeah, 41.1%. So it's sort of delicate, but at the same time not so much, because on the palate actually you get a lot more of the peat and the bitters than you would expecting from the nose. I would have expected it to be like more fruity and more bready, but it's actually the peat really makes it much more bold than you would imagine from the nose. It's very nice. I really enjoy this. But the star of the show tonight is um, this single barrel proof whiskey, which is a 6-year-old, barrel number 67. I guess it's um, bottled at 50.2% ABV. It was only 77 bottles, and the bottles are very small. As you can see, this is not a 750 or 700. I guess everything that's import these days is 700, so this one is 700 milliliters, but this one is only 500 milliliters. Um, and yeah, every once in a while they release this stuff. And for full transparency, being a whiskey influencer, I'm getting a 25% discount. So I think this 20 or 25%, I don't remember. Anyway, I think this thing ended up costing me like £50 for the bottle, but then another £30 to deliver it. So by the time I got it to my door, around $105. And I was like, for 6-year-old whiskey, $105, that's not cheap. But let me tell you this. Their new distillate, what they do is they let it ferment for a minimum of 7 days, 168 hours or 7 days. So I don't know if this was more, or sometimes they do more. There was one where it was like sort of a lion and it was yellow. And it's the profile picture of my friend on all his social media now, because it was such a influential whiskey to him that it caused him to invest in the the Thompson Bros. Anyways, so sometimes they do longer than 7 days, but the minimum they do is 7 days for now. And for a 6-year-old whiskey, even though it's very young, the distillate is so amazing. As I was saying, it's kind of like the equivalent of the Chichibu of Scotland, or I should say, Chichibu is the Dornoch of well, Chichibu came before this, I guess. So I should say this is sort of like the Chichibu of Scotland. Um, oh my God, it's this is obviously much higher proof, right? It's like has 20 proofs higher than this, or 10% more alcohol by volume. It's that yeast and the bready note is so strong and unique in this that you just there's no way you would mistake this for any other whiskey. It's just an amazing whiskey. Okay, what on the palate? Those bready notes, ooh, so concentrated. It's like extract, yeast, and bready notes. It's very interesting. Lots of fruit, like intense fruity notes. Intense fruity notes mixed with those like yeasty bready notes. And it's obviously young, right? You can definitely say that maybe with more time in the cask, it's going to be an amazing whiskey. But even at 6 years old, yeah, I think a lot of other distillates at 6 years old, you wouldn't even be able to drink it. It would taste terrible. This is both unique, and not is it just unique, it's also very flavorful and enjoyable. So let me just have one more sip. That is amazing. Yeah, it's just that there's a very lingering taste as well. A long fermentation times for sure impart a lot of very fruity and interesting flavors to that end product. And this is one of those products that you really have to try to appreciate how good it is. TLDR, great new distillery that I've discovered. If I get a chance to get more of their own distillate, I'm definitely going to go for it. They have a ballot system to make it fair, actually. And one of the things that they appreciate is for people to open these and share them and send them pictures. So hopefully I get some brownie points for opening them and making an episode to introduce them to the world. Because I would really love to get my hands on more of this distillate and see how it evolves over time, because it's such a promising young distillate that I'm really excited to see what it'll be like. as they mature and become older. So yeah, if you come across them at KNL Wines, definitely go for it. If not, you can still go on Thompson Bros Distillers or something.com, and they have a ballots. They have ballots every once in a while, and if you enter enough of them, hopefully you'll win one and you'll be able to get it shipped. Not cheap, again, like 105 to my door for this, even after a discount. But it's such a unique whiskey that I was happy to pay it. So, okay, take care, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.